I have a Thorim game going in the background using King Varian as my 7 drop, and I wanted to use this video as a time to kind of show the math behind why I think this is such a strong play to be doing, especially in lubber lobbies, but more importantly, just like looking at the percent chances of finding key minions. Um, Using this as well as with Scout, just Scout uses the same percentages, and I think at the beginning we're going to see that it's deceptively like looks like a low likelihood chance, but as you kind of minimize your bad drops and kind of what you're doing, you can kind of try to make ways that you better guarantee that you're going to do okay. So I made the following assumptions. One, there's roughly normally 17 sixes in each game. There's a little bit of fluctuation. I remember checking 2 games, and I think both times it was 17. So that's why I used that number. I'm going to have the math on the side that you can change the math if you find this changes, or say tomorrow there's a patch and they change the 6 drop pool. We can go from there. So the way that I'm calculating what a bad drop is essentially you get 2 discovers with Thorim or a Golden Scout. Um, and the chance of you have a bad first discover is essentially if you have a bad first drop, a bad second drop, and a bad third drop in the 3 menus that you choose from. And the way that you can calculate this is it would be 16 over 17 times 15 over 16 times 14 over 15 because you can't have the same minion twice. And if you just simplify the math, that ends up being a 14 out of 17 for the first bad outcome. And then I guess the thing that's kind of important is that both discovers are disjoint. Um, there's maybe a slight difference because you're technically taking 1 6 out of the pool on the second drop, but there's like 6 of each of the sixes in. That slight difference is actually like completely negligible to like how we're rounding percentages here. So bad one outcome is a 14 out of 70 chance. The chance of a good discover of a specific 1 drop is going to be 1 minus the bad first discover squared, because it's a bad first discover and a bad second discover happening. So if you're strictly looking for a specific 6 drop on just your Varian discover, that has a 32% chance of happening. Assuming there's 17 sixes in the discovery pool. So now let's just change the math again a little bit. Let's think about. I think you can oftentimes say there's normally 2 good minions, um, and that's going to be like something like maybe one wins the game, something like Nala, and then maybe one saves the top 4. This might be something like. I've actually been thinking that Fort is actually like a reasonable play, especially with this build because you're staying on 2. You can find a bunch of oozes, but this might also just be something like Rock or some other key 6 drop, maybe even a like Lord of Gains, and you kind of transition to Naga or something like that. But let's just say there's now 2 good minions that you're trying to choose from. So we have the same similar math. Before it was 16 over 17. Now it's going to be 15 over 17. There's 15 bad minions. There's 2 good ones. So again, it's 15 over 17 times 14 over 16 times 13 over 15. And the chance of of now a good outcome would be 1 minus 13 over 17 squared, and this is now 42%. So now you're kind of thinking that like, oh, you're just lucky, right? You have 1 bad is at 32%, and then if there's 2 bad, that's 42%. So like those are unlikely to happen. What we're missing though is that you're normally doing this with Thorim as well as having a scout key, and you can sell the scout if you like hit your drop early or something like that. But let's just assume again that you're doing now both the scout and the Thorim. So instead of it being the bad squared that we did before for the 1 drop, now it's actually bad cubed. So it'd be 1 minus bad 1, which was like this roughly 14 over 17, and cube that. And that means it's a 44% chance of, without a triple scout, of having a bad outcome, which we're now getting closer to a 50-50, right? But I think what's even more important now is the next thing is you're like strictly looking for scouts, and with all your rollings, you should have no problem tripling your scout, which means it's not just this 14 over 17 cube, but it's actually 14 out of 17 to the 4th power. So 1 minus 14 over 17 to the fourth is actually a 54% chance of a good outcome, which is, in my opinion, you're now above average, right? You're doing above that 4.5 placement, assuming everything's equal distribution. So now, let's go back to the other example. If we're doing something like taking your oozes and there's 2 good minions, or there's at least one like game winning and one that's like saves you a top 4 kind of thing, we now have this 1 minus 13 over 17 cubed if you didn't triple your scout, and that ends up being a 55% good chance happening, which again, that's kind of like the equivalent of a triple scout of the 1 good chance. And again, this is a reasonable percentage of you finding what you need. And then I guess just to finish off the math, if you do 2 good minions with the Varian and the triple scout, that's 1 minus 13 over 17 to the fourth, and that's a 66% good chance. And at this point, like, you're more than likely pretty much every time for that to happen. Again, like, 33% chances happen all the time, but we're playing numbers here and trying to get the best thing. So I guess what are the lessons from this is the one, you always know what the standard minion pool is going to be. There's always going to be Nala. There's always going to be Fort. And I'm making the argument, and I'm going to test this out more. I haven't done it much, but I'm pretty sure Fort is always a reasonable, like, to secure you getting into that top 4, especially if you've done some scaling already with the Lubber. And you might need to buy some arrows just to get a little bit more attack on stuff. But at least in your typical lobby, there's 2 good drops there. That means you have, with your Varian and your triple scout, you have a 66% chance of a good outcome happening at one of those 4 spots. And if you're looking strictly for the Nala, you have a 55% chance essentially of winning the game. Is kind of what I put the math at. I'm assuming if you find Nala, you've pretty much won the game, because you're going to have like 50 gold, you're going to be able to go to 6, and play the game that way. And I guess the last thing I want to share is another tip that I didn't do in this video, but something I've figured out that you can do really easily with Lubber strats is if you keep 2 golden Lubbers, there's only going to be 2 minions in the shop. When you go up to 6, what you can do is you can take the spell that makes a minion golden, and you can hope, I mean, it's kind of, playing numbers again, but essentially if you find a good minion in the shop, you can just buy 1, force the golden on the good minion, and that way you can get like a golden Mad Matador for pretty reasonably. You can find a golden fungus this way. But yeah, so that's another tip and trick kind of thing that you can do. Especially when you go up to 6, you can also find Divine Shield to make the minions that you've been buffing. And at this point, like, I don't think I've lost ever with the Nala going up to 6 and doing that now. Now that I've kind of figured out how to like actually play it. Normally, like, once you get to top 4, if you're ever facing an actual opponent, I go up to 6 and then I play it from there. But thanks for listening. Hope this was helpful. Hopefully this kind of gives you insight up to why Scout is so important to be picking up. And why, if you're playing other builds that aren't reasonable, if you don't find your 6 drop, why playing Lubber might not be the best play. So hope this was educational for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good one.
But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away. Trying to stay strong and fake a smile